resolute of heart, make firm thy mind. The tongue of a man is the rudder of the boat, but the Lord of all is its pilot. Cast not thy heart after riches, there's no ignoring fate and destiny. Place not thy thoughts on things outside, every man is destined for his hour.
On feeling goods where all of your cash went, not chakra alignment or inward refinement. Trying to find one word to describe them. Unify them. Pondering on these questions is where my time spent. Creative process, believe me, greatness got to achieve it. Ideas we believe in, positive mind, gotta reach in it. Putting effort to bring forth this new being. You're not consumed by the lust for things, but knows that his work is determined by words and deeds. Your mind is affected by words and deeds. Your thoughts are keys to what you're trying to see, and what you're trying to see should be to reach your goals. Hold on to your dreams, keys open doors. Since you can't always choose circumstances, make sure to choose your thoughts wisely. Choose advancement, work towards the future. Now's your chance, kid. Accept responsibility, abort resentment. Actions always take root from what you think about. Things ain't going your way, it ain't hard to figure out. Why? Why? Ask why. Ain't gotta tell you, it's right in front of your eyes. So in following these principles, you'll find along the road you're the only one responsible for your soul. It's no coincidence. Take control of your life, no coincidence. It's no coincidence. You take control, no coincidence. It's no coincidence. Yeah, it's no coincidence. It's no coincidence. Nah, it's no coincidence.
Old shells are highly prized. And this one is occupied by a sarcastic fringe.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!
You are now entering another dimension. A dimension not only of sight and sound, but of critical thinking. A journey to a wondrous land with boundaries that of clarification. Your next stop, the Sanity Zone.
So, you're a philosopher?
Yes. 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 I think very deeply. I think very deeply. I think very deeply. I think very deeply.
In about 4 seconds, a teacher will begin to speak.
I think very deeply.
You're listening to Breaking News, absolutely breaking the news with Harry, aka The Brave, on WNHH LP 103.5 FM, your home for community radio. What's up, everybody? Happy Monday. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. Let's see. Okay, let me kick my volume up a little bit here. So I'm gonna continue off where I left. Well, a little bit where I left off Friday with this immigration stuff, right? Because we have all of this stuff happening right now. We need border security, right? At least some of us think we need border security. Some of us want to keep the border wide open so that we could have everybody come to our welfare state, because that's basically what we are, right? And then you have California changing its laws so that anybody who comes in could get on welfare and it's a sanctuary city. You could commit crime over there. You could live in the streets. You could squat in the middle of the street, use the bathroom. That's the kind of life crazy liberals want. Because California, look, I know a lot of Democrats who are liberal, but not crazy liberals like California, where they have the homeless people living. There's 10 cities all over the place in California, right next to City Hall. And they spend millions and millions of dollars cleaning up feces, right? So, because it's okay to drop your pants and use the bathroom wherever you are over there in San Francisco, right? It's okay to shoot up in the middle of the street. And all you got to do is go watch the videos. You actually have local TV stations out there who have done videos, and they show people walking what a family who actually lives in that area has to do to take their child to school and step over the disgustingness, right? And California is trying to be the model, right, that everybody looks at. So hopefully we're not that crazy over here in Connecticut. I mean, we're a sanctuary city, but Jesus Christ. Anyway, all right, let's start looking at some stories here. I'm trying something new here, and I'm not sure if it's gonna work. I'm gonna try and get these video clips that I'm always, or audio clips that I'm always playing that don't work. I'm gonna try to get them to work. So let's try something here. Let's listen to this clip of Donald Trump. See if it works. And you're listening to breaking news. Absolutely breaking the news. I'm over here a little behind here. Hopefully this works. Like I said, you're listening to breaking news. We're going to play a Donald Trump clip. Let's see if it works.
Have you considered using emergency powers to grant yourself authorities to build this wall without congressional approval? And second,
Yes,
on
I have.
Mexico, you have.
Yes, I have. And
And-
I can do it if I want.
So you don't need congressional approval to build the
No,
wall?
we can use them. Absolutely. We can call a national emergency because of the security of our country. Absolutely. No, we can do it. I haven't done it. I may do it. But we can call a national emergency and build it very quickly. And it's another way of doing it. But if we can do it through a negotiated process, we're giving that a shot.
So is that a threat hanging over the Democrats?
I never threaten anybody. But I am allowed to do that, yes.
Second question.
Called a national emergency.
Have you considered using emergency powers
So,
to grant yourself authorities to build this
get
wall
rid of the
without
clip.
congressional?
All right. So now it's pretty simple, right? Donald Trump is basically, now this was a question that a reporter came up, because if all you heard this weekend and from the pundits, they're saying now Trump is threatening to declare national emergency. I know this was a question that a reporter asked him, and he said, "Oh, absolutely, I could do it this way," because he actually can declare a national emergency. And people go, "What kind of emergency? What?" Well, you have people coming through the border, and a wide open border in some parts of the border, right? And they come in, you never know, they're bringing drugs, they're trafficking children, they're trafficking women. You have little kids who have died on the border because we have allowed our borders to be so wide open that people think, if I go, I'm going to get in. Right? So declaring it a national emergency is an easy thing, right? And if you look at how many people come every month and everything, you'll see that a sovereign nation, a republic, is allowed to actually protect its borders limit the people who come through the borders. Know who's coming through the border. It's part of national security. Not just, he could declare it a national emergency, but this is national security. And declaring it a national emergency would be making it part of the national security thing so that we could use military funds to protect our borders, to build those barriers. Not walls, right? Not walls. Oh, no. Nobody wants a wall anymore. Forget it. We gave up the wall. Republicans have given up on the wall. You guys won. We just want barriers. Right? Substantial barriers, like Chuck Schumer said. So we'll give up the walls. We'll just put substantial barriers. So some of those substantial barriers will be steel slats. Instead of concrete, steel. Probably better than concrete, but so we'll give up the wall for you guys. We no longer want a wall. What we want now is what the Democrats have wanted for years. Substantial barriers. So how about that? And that's what Trump has to go. Democrats, you won. We no longer want the wall. We want what you've wanted. Substantial barriers. And I think that's exactly where Trump has to go with it. All right, I'm going to take a quick break. You're listening to Breaking News, absolutely breaking the news with Harry, a.k.a. The Brave, on WNHH LP 103.5 FM. Your home for community radio. Be right back.
She called me Big Daddy, Big Papa, Mr. Big Shot. Drop her off and treat it like a pit stop. OMG, ain't no guessing, I need big guap. Yanking in the club, check out the drip drop. Boss new, she go to work, tip top. Love the way she move that body, wine, y'all. Freaky, let's get it, won't love her. No kinky, still she bound to bust it open. Almost every time she see me, let me drown. It get wavy in your waters, yeah. You do it right, I just might call you back. She say it's better with no strings attached, yeah. Lil' shorty smart, she only speaking fact. I got the juice, I got the sauce, I got the swagger. You got some, then I got some, but I know my is better. I'm on the south side, little north, what's happening? I like bad, who get 100 likes with no captions, yeah.
Awesome, she go to work, tip top. Love the way she move that body, wine, yo. I'm awesome, she go to work, tip top. Love the way she move that body, wine, yo.
Pull up, wreck, we full, yeah. No hands, Lord, that. Yeah, lil' mama could work it. You know what you got. We link up the slide, but don't forget the top. OMG, now make it bounce. She don't like to miss a beat. It gotta count. She just push it. You got it. Looking too much cake for my health. Yet I love when she cooking. Shorty colder than ice. You should see when she melt. You should lower the belt. Focus set in the mood. When she want it, she get it. There ain't nothing to prove. When she want it, she get it.
There ain't nothing to prove.
I got the juice, I got the sauce, I got the swagger. You got some, then I got some, but I know my is better. I'm on the south side, little north, what's happening? I like bad, who get 100 likes with no captions, yeah.
I'm Boston, she go to work, tip top. Love the way she move that body, wine, yo. I'm Boston, she go to work, tip top. Love the way she move that body, wine, yo. I'm Boston, she go to work, tip top. Love the way she move that body, wine, yo.
I woke up and gave a conscious effort to make sure you small minds get the larger message. The paper, the house you dressing. If you ain't got bars to back it up, it's not impressive. Who run it? Who run it? Who run it? Who run it? If you did it, then I done it. Anybody get it? Don't nobody want it. Ain't no second coming. Ask them who run it? 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 Yeah. I'm stronger than I've ever been. Never win. You are in the presence of your president. Out here lifting heavy. double back. Asked them if they needed what they needed. I was asleep when they called, then I could come with that. Told me to, I'm dug in that. Matter of fact, come to me. I barely bagged the order, he rolled up like a Russian cream. Who run it? Who run it? Who run it? If you did it, then I done it. Anybody get it, don't nobody want it. Ain't no second coming. Ask them who run it. Mind over matter, remote controlling the data. I'm getting older and older, I'm looking better and better. You is shoulder to shoulder and can't get it together. They think I'm talking to myself, but I was talking to Kevin. I'm picking up where you left us. Ain't tougher than leather. 40 years plus, young and still can't get on my level. And y'all ain't level up yet. I still don't wear watches. I ain't copping ice to bezel up yet. I do my thing so when I die you say I did it to death. My baby moms ain't salty cause I did them correct. I make the money make some more and I ain't breaking a sweat. I make $1 million, leave the chauffeur, I'm taking the chef. I cop the as soon as I observe the nature of threat. So I can squeeze on it like a wash rag when it's wet. So I would rather invest, be somewhere cashing a check. I never loved you, probably why you couldn't get me upset. Who run it? Who run it? Who run it? Who run it? If you did it, then I done it. Anybody get it, don't nobody want it. Ain't no second coming. Ask them who run it? Who run it? Who run it? Who run it? If you did it, then I done it. Anybody get it, don't nobody want it. Ain't no second coming. Ask them who run it?
Let's get right to it. Does President Trump have the ability, have the authority to declare a national emergency, have the military build his wall?
The president has spoken about
well, unfortunately, the short answer is yes. There is a provision in law that says the president can declare an emergency. It's been done a number of times, but primarily it's been done to build facilities in Afghanistan and Iraq. And in this case, I think the president would be wide open to a court challenge saying, where's the emergency? You have to establish that.
All right. I got two clips playing at the same time.
It's going to have to get paid for. The president said that Mexico was going to pay for the wall. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be able to send a bill to the president of Mexico and they're going to cut a check to the United States Treasury, but there are other ways to get the funds.
Yeah, you got to finesse it. Real quickly, I want to get to something that Senator Chris Van Hollen of Maryland said. He's a Democrat. Now his fellow Democrat in Maryland, Ben Cardin, is chiming in and agreeing. Senate Democrats should block consideration of any bills unrelated to opening the government until Senator Mitch McConnell and Senate Republicans.
All right. So what that was about was Stephanopoulos. I think that's his name. Oh, wait. I wanted to answer somebody who's Dennis James Wilson. Mexico pays for it, right? And you heard that clip there. The beginning part of that clip, for some reason, it was like two clips playing, but it's the same clip. But I want to just say to Dennis Wilson, Mexico pays for it. Now, I can't believe I have to keep explaining this because, and I'm sure that Dennis is probably kind of intelligent. Now, Trump has never said, even when he was campaigning, that he was actually asked, sir, do you expect Mexico to cut you a check? And he said, no, I don't expect Mexico to cut me a check. It would be nice. It would be nice. But the way he intended to get Mexico to pay for the wall is renegotiating the old NAFTA deal, right? It's renegotiated. We're winning now in those negotiations. We're not losing everything to Mexico in the negotiations like we used to. There's like $100 billion a year that we were losing in the deal with Mexico, right? And then also being able to actually increase fees for people coming in and out of our border through the Mexican border, I think it's the Texas and Mexico border over there. Anyway, so he had different ways, charging people, sending money to their families in Mexico. So there were different avenues in which he could get the money back, right? But now what Democrats are doing, and what Democrat followers who can't critically think their way out of this, is saying, well, Mexico has to pay for it. Mexico has to actually cut a check. Nobody ever said that. No one ever said that. But they push and they move around these goalposts all over the place. And they claim that Trump said Mexico was going to cut a check. It would be nice, like he said. It would be fantastic if they cut a check. But no one expected Mexico to cut a check. It was as simple as them actually having to pay for it by different ways. By actually, like I said, renegotiating the NAFTA so that we have a better deal and the United States isn't losing so much money. It's not that hard. I know you hate Trump. I know you hate him with a passion. But Mexico has already paid for it with this deal, right? So, with the new deal, I forgot what you call it. It's the new NAFTA deal. Sorry for not knowing the name. But, so with all of this stuff that we're already now being able to show that the United States is actually in better standing in trade with Mexico, it pays for itself. But of course, if you're looking for a check from Mexico, then you're right. Mexico is not going to cut a check for it. Now, if you want to go beyond that, if you want to be able to actually use some of the brain cells to critically think, you'll know that Mexico is going to pay for it and then some. It's that simple. And people go, well, and I heard a Democrat actually say this weekend. They said, well, the taxpayers are going to actually have to fund it. So it's going to come out of the taxpayers' dollars. And then the taxpayers will never see that money come back, even if Mexico is paying more fees or the trade deal is better for the United States. The average American taxpayer will never see that money come back into their pockets. You know what? The United States government wastes so much of our money and we never see it come back into our pockets. Okay? We never see any money come directly in. Nobody ever actually sees money deposited into their account. It's like when Obama bailed out the car industry, right? And they say, oh, we're going to get it. Oh, don't worry about it. The United States is going to get paid back. Well, when they paid it back, did money get deposited in your account? Did you actually see the money come back into your account? No, right? This is what I'm saying. Let's stop pretending that we're stupid. Well, unless it's not a pretense. Unless you actually... Let me be nice. Unless you actually don't understand. If you don't understand, if you didn't know, now you know, right? So this is the thing. These arguments, these ridiculous, false arguments that people do. Now, Dennis, who wrote the comment on the Facebook page, I don't think Dennis believes it. I think he's just saying it because he's regurgitating something that somebody else said. He hasn't actually looked into the fact that, well, wait a minute. So with this new trade deal, the United States is saving billions of dollars. And this border wall is going to pay for itself. With this deal, it pays for itself and then some, because this trade deal we continue to win in. So you compare how much we lost under the Obama administration, under the Bush administration, under the Clinton administration, and you see that we're no longer losing at that rate, then you have to say to yourself, oh yeah, we're winning. Then, especially right now that Trump is asking for $5 billion, That's a drop in the bucket. That's less than 1% of our budget. I think it's 0.1%, something like that. It's a $4 trillion budget. Our government waste. They lose more money than what Trump is asking for. They misplace more money than what Trump is asking for. Right? But, you know, and it's incredible. It's not just Dennis who's... I've heard this argument before. And when you explain it to people, it's like it seems complex to them. But it's so simple. It's so simple. We're staying with more money in our Mexico deal, in our trade, deal with Mexico and Canada. We're winning now. We're actually staying with more of our money, which means since the United States is staying with more of the money, you see it in jobs and, growth. But, I get it. I get that most people don't understand much of what they think they know in politics. They change the channel. They come to CNN, and CNN says Trump deserves to be impeached because he's committing a crime, and they don't explain to you anything else. They just say, he's making more money now that he's president. His businesses, people are staying at his businesses. Now, Trump should just turn all these people away because they go to his hotel because it has the Trump name. It's just so they go, he's breaking the emoluments clause. And you start going, wait a minute. I don't know what that is. But it sounds good because CNN said it. So he has to be breaking some law. So this is what most of the people do. And they have no clue what they're talking about. It's a lot like listening to Joe Ugly in the morning on this station, right? The guy has no clue what he's talking about most of the times. But he has this commitment to his emotions, right? So he'll say something like, like Nancy Pelosi, right? The wall is immoral, right? And you go to yourself, wait a minute, right? This guy can't believe that, right? The wall is immoral, right? So a wall is immoral. Now, the Democrats, under the Obama administration, they wanted what they called a barrier, a substantial barrier. Was that immoral? But if you actually name it a wall, that's immoral? What is it? And since we're talking about immorality, right? Guess what was the number one killer of... What was the number one killer last year, right? It was abortion. I think it was 41 million abortions had last year. I think it's something like that. I'll look up the story. But is that immoral? Since we're deciding what's immoral, right? And there's clearly life in an abortion, right? There's something being cut off. There's a life being stopped from growing, right? Is that immoral? So for Nancy Pelosi, building a barrier, a substantial barrier, now that Trump wants to build that substantial barrier, that's immoral. But her being one of the number one supporters for abortion, that's not immoral. See, this is the thing. We allow the Democrats to decide what's moral and what's immoral. A wall, immoral. Stopping a life that's already growing, not immoral. That's insane. That's a bizarro world. But that's your Democrats. All right, gonna take a quick music break, and I'll be right back. You're listening to Breaking News, absolutely breaking the news with Harry, a.k.a. The Brave, on WNHHLP 103.5 FM, your home. Your home for community radio.
Lane. Passionate record. Huh?
Timeless.
Janaya, I love you. You know that. If you understand, you gotta show that. And smile for your little brother. This LB, stay down for your little brother. Cause he gon' never let them hurt you. If they don't love you like he do, they don't deserve you. Pay attention, never let them learn you. Never get involved if it don't concern you. All those other LGs, I know you love me, you don't gotta tell me. Just show it, let me see. Let's have some fun, drop the beat. It's all about love, just make sure he loves you. It's all about love, just make sure he loves you. It's all about love, just make sure he needs you. It's all about love, just make sure he loves you. It's all about love, just make sure he loves you. It's all about love, just make sure he loves you. It's all about love, just make sure he needs you. It's all about love, just make sure he loves you. Hey, pay attention to your schooling, baby. These boys don't really love you. Nope. You should have dreams you pursuing, ladies. Don't you grow to be a sucker? Nope. Don't let nobody influence you to do what you don't want to. Nope. Think they wanna see you smile, but they just wanna bring you down. Hey, but I'm here to encourage you. When you fall, I'll pick you up. Cause you're a queen in my eyes. These are more than just rhymes. It's all about love, just make sure he loves you. It's all about love, just make sure he loves you. It's all about love, just make sure he needs you. It's all about love, just make sure he loves you. It's all about love, just make sure he loves you. It's all about love, just make sure he loves you. It's all about love, just make sure he needs you. It's all about love, just make sure he loves you. Now do your thing, do your thing, ladies, do it, ladies, do it, ladies, do your thing, do your thing, do it, do your thing, do your thing, ladies, do your thing. Whoa, it's all about love. Yeah, just make sure he loves you. Hey, where my nephews at, man? I need y'all to sing to y'all sisters for me. Matter of fact, where my son at, man? Talk to your sister, cause he ain't getting through her head right now. It's all about love. Yeah, just make sure he needs you. Tell my mama. It's all about love. Just make sure he loves you. Tell my aunties. It's all about love. Just make sure he loves you. Tell my sisters. It's all about love. Just make sure he loves you. All around the world, understand. It's all about love. Stay inspired by love. Just make sure he needs you. Lane told you that. It's all about love. Just make sure he loves you.
All right, you're listening to Breaking News, absolutely breaking the news with Harry, a.k.a. The Brave. All right, gonna play a little clip
in
on the hypocrisy of the Democrats.
Based on merit and based on the fact that they are going to love our country and they respect our people in our country.
For decades, open borders have allowed drugs and gangs to pour into our most vulnerable communities. Most tragically, they have caused the loss of many innocent lives.
We are a nation of immigrants, and we should all be proud of it.
but we're also a nation of laws. It is wrong and ultimately self-defeating for a nation of immigrants to permit the kind of abuse of our immigration laws.
Not only in the states most heavily affected, but in every place in this country are rightly disturbed by the large numbers of illegal aliens entering our country. That's why our administration has moved aggressively to secure our borders more by hiring a record number of new border guards, by deporting twice as many criminal aliens as ever before.
Families who enter our country the right way and play by the rules watch others flout the rules.
People who enter the United States without our permission are illegal aliens, and illegal aliens should not be treated the same as people who entered the U.S. legally.
And because we live in an age where terrorists are challenging our borders, we cannot allow people to pour into the U.S. undetected, undocumented, and unchecked.
We've got to do several things, and I am, adamantly against illegal immigrants. Certainly, we've got to do more at our borders, and people have to stop employing illegal immigrants.
We're working to make sure that we have sufficient facilities to detain, house, and process them appropriately. And it is unlikely that their children will be able to stay. And I've asked parents across Central America not to put their children in harm's way.
The president's decision to end DACA was heartless and it was brainless. Hundreds of thousands of families will be ripped apart.
Meanwhile, what's happening to families at the border is horrific. This is a moral and humanitarian crisis.
That's the Democrats' law. We can change it tonight. We can change it right now. I will leave here. No.
They're telling us that the single most grave threat to America is a bunch of poor, impoverished, broke, hungry refugees 1,000 miles away. They're even using our brave troops, sending them down as a political stunt.
The Department of Homeland Security says there's been more than a 200% spike in illegal border crossings over the past year, and a 37% jump from last month to this month.
For the first time, an American president is taking a very firm line. Good. That's what's needed. Whole populations are on the move. Invasions, frankly, have to be stopped.
All right. So, as you can see, the Democrats go from under Obama, actually, they were harsher than Trump has been. They were so much harsher. You have Chuck Schumer saying, you can't even call them undocumented. Calling them undocumented is wrong. And it shows our citizens that we're not serious about it. They should be called illegal aliens. And they should not be treated like legal aliens. They should not be treated like that. Right? So you have the Democrats going from Hillary Clinton saying they shouldn't even be hired. This is under Obama, to now they changed their mind because Trump wants the same thing they want. Right? Hillary Clinton and Obama both voted to have a substantial, double fencing or wall, whatever you want to call it, steel slats. But it's a substantial barrier. They wanted something that wouldn't be penetrable. Right? But now suddenly, they want to keep the broken, worn-out fences that can be tunneled under or easily climbed. They want to keep them there. Why? What changed for them? What changed for the Democrats? How come suddenly a wall is immoral? But when Hillary Clinton, Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, Harry Reid, all of the leaders of the Democrat Party, when they voted for it, it wasn't immoral? And keep in mind that they voted for all of this stuff. They just never allocated the full funding for what they voted for. Right? So now, all they need is to fully fund what they have voted for in the past. But it's not about doing the right thing for the Democrats anymore. Right? While Obama was president, they were for DACA. They wanted all of the people who registered for DACA to be here legally, right? To actually have a pathway to citizenship. When Trump offered that for the funding for the substantial barrier, they said no. And he offered 3 times as much as Obama wanted. Obama was seeking 700,000 DACA recipients, to have a pathway to citizenship, to stay here legally, to not have to worry. Trump offered up to 2.8. And the Democrats said no. This is the thing. The Democrats are hypocrites. They don't really care about anything they claim to care about. When Obama ran for president in 2007, 2008, he told the Hispanics that the first thing he would do would be pass comprehensive immigration reform. He didn't even try. And for those first 2 years, he had the Senate, the Congress, and of course, he was the president. The Democrats are liars. I hear Trump is a liar all the time, and Trump plays with words. He exaggerates. He's bombastic. He's all of the above, right? But the Democrats act like they've never lied before. Obama lied when he told the Hispanics we were going to get comprehensive immigration reform. Didn't do it. Most of what Obama promised, he didn't do. He said he was going to end all the wars. As soon as he got in, he sent more people to Afghanistan. They invaded Libya. They got Gaddafi out. And now that's... Libya is basically giving up to Al-Qaeda and ISIS right now. Obama was going to withdraw from all the wars that we were in, right? Now Trump wants to do that same thing, and the Democrats are against him. They want to continue war in Syria. Now keep in mind, when Trump won the presidency, the Democrats were demanding that he ask Congress for permission to continue what Obama has started. Because they said we were on a war footing in Syria and Congress gets to decide on wars. And now that he wants to withdraw, the Democrats are against it. I don't get it. Now the Democrats are the war party. The Democrats believe in nothing. They literally believe in nothing. Because whatever stances, whatever positions they were in before Trump became president, it's changed. They're no longer for those positions. The Democrats are hypocrites. It's pretty simple. All right, going to take a quick music break, and I'll be right back. You're listening to Breaking News, absolutely breaking the news with Harry, a.k.a. The Brave, on WNHH LP 103.5 FM, your home for community radio.
More dollars. Young Trappers, ENT, turn up.
$1 Million Muck, Young Trappers, ARI. We on the road to the riches. Road to the riches, fast be the red light. Red light, my brakes flow deeper than a shark bite. Shark bite, star, but evolve to the greatest rap. Damn, I'm a rookie, but the student might could beat the math. I might roll to the riches, fast be the red light. Red light, my brakes flow deeper than a shark bite. Shark bite, star, but evolve to the greatest rap. I'm a rookie, but the student might could beat the math. I might,
I'm on the road to the riches. Got rich cutting O's on the dishes. Used to get heat from the stove in the kitchen. Big heat, two-hand hole when I'm spitting. I'm a slave to the dope game. Before I had money, I ain't had no name. First Cassidy gave me his old chain. Now I own 3 cribs off of cocaine. North Philly came from the worst part, where you stay broke if you got no heart. Remember when Gone fronted me an old hoe. Now my trap house move like a go-kart. Them cold nights, I ain't had 10 cents. Now the coke weigh the same as an infant. I done seen money come between friendships. Seen the scream when that Mac 10 spit.
Roll to the riches, fast be the red light. Red light, my brakes flow deeper than a shark bite. Shark bite, star, but evolve to the greatest rap. Damn, I'm a rookie, but the student might could beat the math. I might roll to the riches, fast be the red light. Red light, my brakes flow deeper than a shark bite. Shark bite, star, but evolve to the greatest rap. I'm a rookie, but the student might could beat the math. I might work hard, play hard, think of Wiz Khalifa. Turn my life around, now I'm feeling like the preach. Roll to the riches, throw, gain a free whack. The mic talking Beanie Siegel, free whack. The mic words in the cool bread, nothing dirty, yeah, nothing. Put so much weight, I think I got a hernia. Born in the streets, run them like a deep track. I'm talking Kelly Price, yeah, my pocket's real fat. Racing to the top, living like it's Need for Speed. NASCAR life, YT, we in the lead. Shorty wanna ride my wave, rocket power. Good rap money got me ballin' like the White Howard. Roll to the riches, rap gain a detour. My brothers hold your boy together, I call it my core. Roll to the riches, fast with the red lights. Put it in reverse, flaming on a bridge. Roll to the riches, fast be the red lights. Red lights, my brakes.
Alright, you're listening to Breaking News, absolutely breaking the news with Harry, aka The Brave, on WNHH-LP 103.5 FM. Right.
I'm particularly proud to be woman Speaker of the House of this Congress, which marks the 100th year of women having the right to vote. And that we all have the ability and the privilege to serve with over 100 women members of Congress, the largest number in history.
All right, I just wanted to give that. Congratulations to Nancy Pelosi and to all the women actually, you know, moving into power. I think it's about time, right? It's about time. You know, the women especially have been treated horribly, especially minority women. So, but I gotta applaud them. They won. You know, Nancy Pelosi has the House. All right, now let's move on to another story. All right, there's the New York Post, and you should see it on your screen. Man charged in fatal shooting of 7-year-old girl. Now, one man was charged, and a second man was being held by police Sunday in the shooting of a 7-year-old death of a 7-year-old girl who was riding in her family's car as they pulled out of the Houston Walmart, according to officials and the family lawyer. Right now, this is the case. If everybody remembers last week, all the stars got involved and money started being donated to because they thought a white man had shot this little girl, and you know there were mug shots of this white man. Right, and people started talking about hate crimes and everything, and I'm pulling up the picture right there so everybody can see it, right? And it's basically really not being reported much. The fact that they called this a hate crime and all of this, and it turns out to be a couple of young black men who mistook the family's car with somebody else's. So it must have been some gang thing, right? So they shot up this car. And more than likely, that white man that people thought did it, you know, was running away from the scene too, right? There were shots fired. Shots fired. What do you do? Stay there? So anyway, as you can see, they were wrong. The media was wrong. And of course, they like to incite. So automatically they started running with a hate crime story. Now, I would like to see them kind of apologize and just admit to themselves that they are sensationalizing everything to be about race. They want a race war. They don't want people getting along. They need people to be divided in order to sell their story on Trump, right? But, you know, what can you do with the media? And this is exactly what I'm talking about. It's exactly what I'm talking about. That the media, and this is what Trump talks about fake news. They jump to all the wrong conclusions. And they're doing it purposely because they need us to hate one another. Right? So let me see if I can find another story here. Oh, here goes a beautiful story, right? This is Breitbart News. Feds illegal alien family tried to smuggle alleged cop killer across border. Now, remember that cop killer last week shot a California cop, right? And his family was trying to... It's so funny, right? They're all trying to come from Mexico into the United States. Well, his family was trying to smuggle him back into Mexico because he shot the cop. And now people want to protect his family from being deported. Isn't that nice, right? Nothing, like I said last week, they could care less about the cop. Democrats could care less about that young man, I think it's like 33 years old, person of color, and his life was ended. He left behind a 5-month-old child, and they could care less. They don't report anything about it. It's all about protecting the illegal aliens. Look at this. The Golden Globes, anti-gun Hollywood was surrounded by security walls and armed guards. So these people stand up on their pedestal and tell you how you don't need guns. You don't need anything. You don't need anything to protect you. But they're surrounded by armed guards, a small army. All right. You've been listening to Breaking News with Harry, a.k.a. The Brave, on WNHH-LP 103.5 FM, your home for community radio. And I'm about to get out of here. Oh, my God. Literally, I'm about to get out of here because I'm out of time. So thank you for listening, and catch me Friday at 12. Harry, a.k.a. The Brave, on WNHH-LP 103.5 FM, your home for community radio.
So you're a philosopher?
See ya.
Yes. 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 I think very deeply. I think very deeply. I think very deeply. I think very deeply.
New Haven, Sleeming Ride, on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Follow us. And yeah.